Dear God, show me how good I can get. Love, your favorite. Okay, let's do this. In 3, 2, 1. It's Thrive time. Hi, beautiful people, boys and girls. Dumelang, what's making the way in which God works. So a crazy thing happened about a month ago, and I realized now that I'm only posting this now, or now that I'm only recording anything about it now, that I was actually still in so much awe and shock. So a bit of a background, a bit of a story time, whatever. So whoever follows me on Instagram would have seen that a month ago I got a new car, right? And it might seem like a normal thing. People get new cars all the time, except the fact that the position I was in exactly a year ago from today, like last year this time, I could never have imagined things opening up, things working out, or things going my way. And I think it has a lot to do with the affirmations I made New Year of this year, 1st of January. I had a serious talk with God, and I was like, please show me how good it can get. And not because I'm making demands on God, and not because of these voodoo stuff, power of the universe and what, no. But because genuinely I wanted to just give him the steering wheel, let him take the wheel and drive and see where it goes. So, beginning of Jan, I wish I could show you my vision board, but it has some other personal stuff that I can't show you. But yeah, I just said, show me how good it can get, right? And my prayer ever since then was just a prayer of gratitude. Thank you for solving problems for me. Thank you for removing me from situations that were not for me. Thank you for just being a God of removing, solving, restoring, and making anew or building anew, So a bit of a background to make sense if it so happens that you are brand new to this channel and you stumbled upon this. Let me start this from the very beginning. 2017, I started working for this other civil engineering company. Things were going okay-ish, but a lot of the times things were not going well. Would go for as long as 5 or 6 months without getting paid, and you'd still be expected to go to work. So fast forward from 2017, all through the pandemic, things were up and down, shaky, a bit gray, a bit wishy-washy. Then we get to 2022. Then I think we had spent about 2 months without getting paid, and at that point I already had a baby, and expenses, most kids are expensive. So even where you were able to stretch 1 cent to last you for 3 months, now you can't, because there's Pampas, there's school fees, there's all of that. And so I was down to my last cent, and I informed my employer that, I'm struggling, I can't come to work. And my employer took that as me absconding from work, even though I informed him before, and basically didn't pay me for those days when I didn't go to work. And he further decided that that wasn't bad enough, and he decided that he was going to terminate my contract. So I was given a letter of termination, and 2 months down the line, I was now jobless and at home, which is frustrating for a Miss Do It All like myself. But somehow I feel like that was necessary so that I could have a season of pause. If you want to catch up on that, like the full story and the full lowdown, it's all on my channel. I'll link it somewhere here, or I'll leave the links down below for the videos. The whole CCMA case, my mental state at that point, and coming in and out of a slight depression, anxiety here and there, and obviously I don't want to go broke, and we are in this generation that doesn't want to depend on a man, but unfortunately I was forced, right? So fast forward from around July, I was jobless, right? And I was now focusing on my other exciting creative stuff, like the YouTube channel, the podcast, and the fitness boot camps, which were going really well, especially the fitness boot camps, because I had clients and classes every single morning up until we got to somewhere end of January. I feel like there was a shift somewhere in January, but somewhere in Jan, I had a couple of job offers, and the way in which I had options on where I want to go was really just crazy. But that's not the crazy part yet. Then I ended up deciding to take the academic job over the technical job, because the technical one didn't really make sense. The offer was a bit and I wanted to be the girl that she thinks she is. So I remember praying about it for a couple of days, because I really it felt like saying no to this big company would kind of shut me down and close my doors, because how do you say no when you're jobless? But I prayed about it, and Before I knew it, I was like, God, take the steering wheel. Let it be you who decides where I'm going, and let it be you who makes it clear. I fasted for a couple of days, and then on the third day, I got a job offer from a company that I've been wanting to work for. So I applied for this specific company sometime last year, but I wasn't really considered because of the logistics. They wanted me for a part-time role, and I made it clear from the onset that I'm a stable girl. I'm a commitment girl. If you're gonna take me for a ride, let's not do it. So that's why I didn't get the job last year. But now they had a permanent role, and they decided, you know what? Let's take you on. Let's do this, and that's how I ended up in the current job. So from mid-January to that last week of Jan, there was just so much happening, and it overwhelmed me a bit. It shook me up a bit, and I kind of disappeared off the socials, off the YouTube channel, off the podcast, because what do you even mean, right? But through all of that, I still kept my car, which I'd been driving since end of 2017, and I've been paying it, and I would have finished paying it off last year had I not lost the job, but I still kept on paying it. I was not really in areas or anything of that sort, so everything was still fine credit-wise, right? But something in me just had a bit of a shift in January, right? So there was this one day I was going to pick up my son, Koskolong, and I drove past this other dealership right on the corner. People who live in Vanderbilt Park will know it. There was a dealership here by the corner, and outside was a white Mazda 3. I think it was an Astina, and it had a red leather interior, and oh my gosh, it stole my heart. I was like, what do you even mean? Thing is, I was not even looking for a new car. I was not even in that mindset that, you know what, maybe I could change my car. Now I was like, you know what, I'm just going to pay this one and be debt free for a while, see how I feel about not having any debts. And I saw this car, but it was not new, it was second hand, and also the dealership was a bit dodgy. They were just giving me the runaround in terms of the price. One sales guy said it's this much, the other sales guy said it's this much, and I was like, you know what, okay, fine. I inquired, I tried, but I was like, there was a resistance in me that said, nah, not this one. So I let it go. I just kind of forgot about it, right? And then there was a day I was on Instagram, and you know the way our phones spy on us. There was a day I was on Insta, and then an ad popped up from Mazda CMH in Pretoria, and I followed the link, and batum, my car was there on the floor, a white Mazda 3, and it was also second hand, but the mileage was a little bit lower, and I was like, yo, wow, nice. So I inquired just for the sake of inquiring. Still didn't really want a new car, but I was like, just ask and see, you know? So the thing is, by that point, I was still undecided whether I want a car or not, and if I'm getting a car, which one I wanted, because my car was a little bit aged. I could still drive it for a couple of years, but Mina, by the time a car gets to a point where you need to become a mechanic to keep it proper, like now I must know what goes where, what sits where. I must carry around a bottle of water in case it over. Nah. I was like, I'm not a mechanic. It started vibrating. The alignment was off. The water pump was not working. Some of the window switches, what were not working. The aircon was not working. So I could still drive it. It was my own Skulani. I knew it, but something in me said, girl, you kind of deserve better. And then I was like, okay. Then I inquired about that car, and then the guy was really nice. He responded, and he was like, okay, so this is what we have on the floor, and he gave me a couple of other options as well. But since I was not steadfast on the car I wanted, then salespeople will sell you whatever they can sell. So then he showed me this car, which was really sexy. It was like a gold Mazda CX-3, and it was brand new. It was really shiny, but the price point sounded a little bit dodgy, because something about me does not really, like, I don't like spending. I'm like, but that car was nice, and I was like, but if I'm gonna be spending this amount of money on a car that, like, I don't mind driving it, but it's not my dream car, what about spending the actual amount on a car that I do want? Then I made an arrangement to go and view some cars. I went over to Pretoria, and I went to view some cars, and I saw some of the CX-3s, some of the CX-30s. I saw the CX-5 as well, because at some point I thought I wanted a big car, but it was too big. And then there by the corner was a Mazda 3, and it was red, but it was a Mazda 3, and it was manual, and it had a cloth interior. And he was like, we don't really keep the auto here. We normally bring it on as per request or per order. Would you like us to order one for you? And something about your season of yes, man, something about your season of yes and your specific tailor-made orders coming into fruition, then I was like, yes, please order one for me, because by then he had already run all the checks, all the credit checks, all the employment checks and what, and he already kind of see like, okay, you're a good fit, we can do this. And then he orders one, and then he starts sending me snippets, bits and pieces of snippets of what the car looks like. And wow, my heart was really taken, shame. But I was very specific that I wanted a white one, and I wanted a leather interior. Initially, I wanted a red leather interior, but my love for that died out somewhere along the line, because it's not everyone's cup of tea, and I'm not intending on keeping the car forever. I will probably sell it at some point, and you want it to be sellable. So I was like, okay, we can do a black interior, but I want red stitching on the car because it just feels like that special touch for me. And then he was like, okay, we can do that. Then they changed the cloth interior, made a leather interior. And another thing that I specified was that I wanted black wheels. I don't know if it's the wheels or the mags, I don't know what you boys call it, but I wanted black wheels. And they're like, okay, we can do that one as well. And I thought I wanted a sunroof, but I was like, you know what, it's actually fine. I can do with an all black interior with the red stitching. And much to my surprise, a season of yes, like everything was just yes, what else, yes, what else, would you like this, would you like that, should we add this, should we add that? And I was just in so much awe of how things can go your way if you believe that they can, and if you believe that you deserve it. So I think on the 21st or 22nd of April, somewhere there, and then I was going to pick up the car, and I drove my white baby girl for the very last time and dropped her off at the dealership because I was trading it in. And I saw this new car, and oh my freaking gosh, guys, like when I say God, like if God was a person, he would be 2023. His name would be 2023, because how? And that's how I ended up with a new car, and I'm loving it so far. I still get so emotional when I think about it, when I think about how simply allowing God to show you how good it can get. So this is not to brag, this is not to gloat, it's not to rub anything in anyone's face, but just to say whatever it is that you put your mind and heart and soul to can come to fruition, even if it doesn't have a name, it doesn't have a title, even if you don't even know what you want, but it is possible with God. So maybe if you let go of that little bit of control you like, he can actually show you how much he can do for you and for your life. Thank you so much for tuning in today's video, and I'll catch you on the flip side.